Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me for my brand new video. This is going to be something a little bit different. It's kind of an exciting follow-up to my new creative journaling series, and I will leave a link down below for that so you can check that out and see the first episode and tell me what you think. But for today, I'm going to hop in and show you the first month out of this particular journal. It's been a pretty big year for me, but I'm proud to say that I have kept up my daily journaling habit. I've had a lot of requests from people messaging me and commenting on all sorts of different social media, and they basically want to take a peek inside. So I figure I might as well do a flip through. And if you guys do enjoy it, please let me know, and I might even consider doing one at the end of each month. I hope you enjoy, and let's jump in. This particular volume started on October 19th. I thought I would just quickly point this out and let you know that this is kind of going to be a bit of a mini flip through. So it's actually going to be from October 19th to the 31st of October. So I think that's about 12 days. So in other words, I guess you could say it's kind of like a sample of things to come. But for anyone who's wondering, this little swatch doll die cut girl, she's so cute. I thought she needs to go live here. This was designed and illustrated by James Luke Burke Creative Co. I will leave a link down below to his channel, and you can check out his collage sheets on his Etsy store. Now, I've started off this page with a pretty simple illustration and just a nice reminder that life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. So I think our journal is a nice place to unwind and be free of all the other pressures that we face on a day-to-day basis. All right, so this is the first entry of this journal. It's Thursday, the 19th of October. I like to use a little bit of embellishments, a project life card. These are Tim Holtz rub-ons. I've got so many packs of these and I need to use them up. So if you have this sort of stuff laying around and you don't know what to do with them, feel free to put them into your journal and, you know, bring those pages to life. But on this particular day, it sort of didn't go quite to plan. And that's okay, because that is life. That's how life goes. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to put every entry was an amazing day or the best day ever, because life is not like that. And, or at least my life is not. If yours is, that's fantastic, but mine is not. My husband and I were actually planning on going out of town for some shopping, but it didn't quite go to plan. He had to go to IKEA to pick up some furniture for his parents to help move them into their new home. But my husband was so great. He came home from IKEA and he spoiled me with some gingerbread cookies, which were amazing, and also some chocolate. But as you can see here, there's a really cute illustration of a little house, and this is actually a piece of packaging from the gingerbread cookies. Friday, October 20. What I've got here is something a little bit different. This is the first time that I've used this particular A5 Midori notebook journal. I wasn't sure how the pages and the paper quality was going to hold up. I intentionally put on some Jane Davenport collage pieces, I think that's what it's called. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go, but if we go back to the previous page, you can see that it didn't even buckle or warp the pages at all. It was able to hold up pretty well. I have some of the DIY Jane Davenport washi tape where it's just blank, and you can actually add your own inks and watercolors and paints and things like that to make your own design washi tape. I actually made up quite a few of these in advance and sort of cut them up, put them in the back of my journal so I can pull out all these goodies whenever I want to. And I saw this color and I fell in love, and I thought it just had to go with the little Polaroid Instax picture of my daughter and I. Okay, so I think this is probably one of my favorite pages out of this journal so far, because I'm sure there's going to be quite a few favorites, and you might even catch me saying that a few times throughout this video. They always say that blue and green should never be seen. I don't agree with that. I think it looks beautiful. That's just my opinion. It's completely subjective. This particular spread didn't really start out with a plan. Obviously, I had the memories that I wanted to document, but it wasn't until I found this particular journaling card which had a picture of a caravan on it, and that was so central to this story because my husband's parents have been living in their caravan for about 2 or 3 months while their new house was being built. And so when it came to moving day, where they started moving everything out of the caravan and into their brand new home, which I love this little house sticker. I think that's by Craft Paper. I'm not too sure, I'll have to look that up. But it was such an exciting day for them that I was really happy to be able to snap some pictures of them unpacking their boxes and moving in and making their house a home. Alright, so I had a few questions about this particular spread. All I did was I used a few different blues and purples, watercolors. I kind of did what Ali Brown did. She's such a fantastic inspiration for any kind of creative journaling, so do definitely check out her channel if you're not familiar with her already. But she does something called watercolor plopping. But it's basically not oversaturating the page with water, it's just getting it nice and wet so the color is able to bloom and move around and sort of take on a life of its own. I didn't really have a place for this particular sketch that I did of this little owl. I don't know if it's a barn owl or a brown owl. I'm not very good on my owls. But I do know that I'm a night owl. I used a cutout from Flow magazine, I believe, and journaled my little heart out, and it was really, really satisfying. Alright, so this particular journaling entry was my birthday. I turned the big 3-1. I didn't really want to acknowledge the day. I was kind of in denial about it. At the same time, I'm very, very grateful for life itself. I always think that it's a gift. I never take advantage of it. It's full of magical moments. Hence why I document so many moments, because I don't want to forget them. And I decided, why not use a whole bunch of stuff from a matching series, and I pulled out my Maggie Holmes Chasing Dreams stash. I think I just wanted to do something different, a little bit challenging, just make a spread using just one brand of supplies from the one series. But yeah, for anyone wondering, it was a pretty low-key day and we ended up having a great night with cake. Everything's better with cake. Alright, can I backtrack and say that this is probably my favourite spread, because I think that this is my favourite spread. The artwork that appears here and here belongs to James Luke Burke Creative Co, and that was part of his collage sheet, which I showed you earlier with the little swatch doll girl. And for the month of October, this particular piece that he made was a printable included for free within that collage sheet. But for this particular piece, I used his illustration as a tip-in. I love a good abstracty black and white splattery ink effect, and I thought that it was very appropriate for Inktober. So in this spread, I went ahead with the same matte acrylic paint. I lightened it up a little bit with some gesso. This is a Maggie Holmes Chasing Dreams cardstock sticker, which is kind of hard to say. I went around the border with a thin polka dot black and white washi, and down here this was yet another random little illustration that I did that didn't really have a home. So just like the owl beforehand, I cut around her, turned it into a die cut, and popped her on the page. I mean, this particular girl has nothing to do with the day and the memory that I recorded, but it's okay. Like, not everything has to go together. If you just like a picture, put it down. If it makes you happy, that's the main thing. Alright, now speaking of elements that don't really go with your particular entry, here is another example. I think this was a cutout of a swatch card from one of her watercolor tins, and I just pasted it on there. I was painting around it. I used some mermaid markers, some acrylic paints, some stencils with some gesso. I just went kind of crazy, and that's fine. At this point, I didn't really know that it was going to go onto YouTube. Alright, so for people that have already checked out my previous video, you will absolutely recognize this particular spread. I started mindlessly putting the grey down, and I realized that this is kind of a neglected color. But then I like to go ahead and add some black and white photos, and I just find that it looks a little bit more personal. But what I might do is I'll leave a card in the top right hand corner right about now. And if you click that, it will redirect you to the video where you can actually see this spread come to life. Okay, so now we're moving on to Saturday the 28th of October. I really like this spread. I think that it's so peaceful and calming, and I just really like it. All I did was use a distress stain in the shade Cracked Pistachio and did some doodling with a waterproof pen. I got woken up super early, I think it was about 5 a.m, and the first thing that I heard was screaming coming through the baby monitor, and I freaked out. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even look at the baby monitor. I just leapt out of bed and I jumped out so quickly that I fell straight on the floor. I scrambled to my feet and I ran straight into my daughter's bedroom, and I didn't know what to make of it at first. I found her just laying normally on her back with her eyes closed, and she was crying and screaming, and I picked her up and gave her a lot of cuddles, and no matter what I did to kind of try and soothe her and calm her down, she kept crying and screaming. And that was pretty much when I realized that her eyes never opened this whole time. She was completely unresponsive to me. She didn't seem to know that I was even there. And it was really hard because I felt so powerless and confused about what was actually happening to her. And then it dawned on me that she might actually be having a night terror. They're not dangerous, they're just very unpleasant. But I knew that eventually when she fell asleep, and she did within about 5 minutes after that, I knew that she would not be able to remember it. I took her back to bed with me. I don't even think I slept. I was so frazzled and on edge about what I just witnessed. She fell straight asleep. She was fine. I took this beautiful photo of her sleeping peacefully as if nothing happened. And as small as she is, she does a really good job at stretching out and sort of encroaching on everyone's side of the bed. She's a little bed hog for sure. You'll see some of the elements that I've got around here and also on this little photo is from another YouTuber that I follow. It's Leanne from Creatively Free to Be Me. I will leave a link down below to her YouTube channel so you can go ahead and check her out. But this was on her Etsy store. It's a little collage sheet meant for journaling, and I really like the simplicity of it. All right, we're almost there. So this is Sunday the 29th of October, and what I used was a little bit of fuchsia acrylic paint, and then I used some random bits and pieces in my stash and just went ahead and did some journaling. So it was pretty simple. I spent the majority of the day feeling quite sorry for myself because I had a cracking migraine. So I basically spent the entire day in my pajamas, which I kind of think that that's how a Sunday should be spent anyway. So I basically caught up on some YouTube videos and I had a lot of fun. If you've followed me on Instagram lately, you would have seen me post this quite recently. I was using the journaling prompt from the I'm a Scribe hashtag, and it basically just asked what your favorite color was. And for me, it's always been purple. I love how mystical and celestial and magical and calming and soothing it feels. So it was a no-brainer. I layered so much water on these pages, it would make your jaw drop. But as you can see, there is still no warping, there's no bleed through. So you can see here that you don't really need to get caught up in decorations at all. You can just do whatever you like. Okay, so my camera is beeping at me and it's getting ready to shut down on me any point. So we're gonna hurry along, but it's really good timing. This is the 31st of October. It is the last entry of October. So these two pieces are from Inky Quill, as well as this particular journaling card. And I used that as a tip-in to feature a very cute like gothic skull filter that was available on Facebook to celebrate Halloween. It was a pretty simple day. I ended up selling some stuff on Facebook. I had a lady come by and pick it up, and that was pretty much about it. That is life. Sometimes not much happens, but just write down whatever you want. You don't have to include everything. Or you could just explore some journaling prompts on Pinterest or some hashtags. And this is when my camera died. However, I wanted to say a big thank you for checking out this video. As I mentioned before, please let me know if this is something that you would enjoy seeing on a more regular basis, and I can film some flip through videos at the end of each month. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment down below about what you thought of it and if you enjoy keeping a journal too. Okay, thanks so much everyone, bye bye.